Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into Leuven in Belgium. We've got some fantastic material you shared. Thank you for that. And Leuven, it's more than just a spot on the map, isn't it? It feels like this constant conversation, this dialogue across centuries. You've got the river, the university world famous, and the people, incredibly resilient people. We're going to trace its path from, well, an ancient river crossing all the way to a modern smart city. And trust me, the story's got twists, real lessons in resilience here. So let's unpack this. How far back, how far really back does Leuven's story go? It feels ancient.
Oh, it absolutely is. And, the story starts way before any Frankish charters mention it. Archaeologists have found stuff along the Dial River where they've got traces of late Neolithic camps, even Iron Age field systems.
Wow.
And Roman roof tiles, suggesting maybe a small way station, on that old road between Tonderen and Bavay. Its location was key, even then.
That's fascinating. So fast forward a bit. By the 7th century, sources say a fortified settlement starts appearing near today's Markt.
Exactly. Likely called Leuven, probably from a Germanic word meaning fled meadow, which makes sense given the river.
Right.
And there's local lore, too, about Pippin of Landon's descendants putting up a timber palisade there. Early defenses.
And the first solid proof, the written stuff.
That comes later, late 9th century. The Annales Fuldenses, these old chronicles, they mention Leuven. It's where Viking fleets, led by chieftain Siegfried, got, hammered in 891 by King Arnulf of Carinthia.
It's a pretty major battle.
Oh yeah, a really significant victory. Boosted the Carolingian reputation big time.
And crucially, that victory bought them some peace, some breathing space.
Exactly, and that's when you see merchants, fishermen, artisans starting to cluster around that ford by the river.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so you get a basic market, a church popping up, a toll station. Slowly, Leuven shifts from just a military spot to more of a proto-urban center.
Drawing in goods like grain, wool, salt.
Precisely. So even way back then, you see the basic ingredients. The river trade, the defenses, and this mix of people. That really set the stage for Brabant. Now, jump to the turn of the 11th century. Leuven's really starting to climb the ladder. It becomes the power base for the counts, who later become the dukes of Lower Lotharingia. This branch of the Regenerid family, they were apparently quite skilled politically.
Right, playing the game. And wasn't there a Henry the Sixth the Courageous? He picked Leuven.
He did. Made it his main residence, commissioned stone keep, sponsored the Romanesque St. Peter's Church we still see parts of today.
And they invested big, right? For a small place back then.
Very big. A stone wall, almost 3 kilometers long, built with rubble and chalk, enclosing the early suburbs.
That must have been a huge draw, security.
Absolutely. It attracted cloth workers, maybe escaping stricter guilds in Ghent, Jewish moneylenders who'd been expelled from Mainz, traveling stone carvers too, skills coming in.
And the riverfront, the Digel quays, buzzing with trade, wool, wine.
Yeah, sources from the 1130s, 1150s mention new parishes being founded. Things were growing.
So putting it all together, by 1183, Leuven and its nearby towns are officially the Duchy of Brabant, a real regional power.
Yeah, quite the transformation. What was a modest river town now had serious regional influence. The ducal court attracted troubadours, lawyers, even Italian bankers. And you can still, pick up hints of their presence today, linguistically, architecturally, in those old medieval lanes. It speaks to that vibrant growth. Then comes the medieval peak, the 13th and 14th centuries. This is when Leuven really hit its stride, economically speaking. Turns out its climate damp, not too frosty, was perfect for fulling, that process for treating wool, especially fine English fleeces.
Ah, the cloth trade.
Yeah, exactly. Leuven's broadcloth became famous, seriously rivaling giants like Ypres and Ghent.
And you could see the wealth. The guilds, drapers, weavers, they were funding big projects by 1300.
Oh yeah. A new stone jetty on the river, a covered cloth hall for trading, and that huge Gothic expansion of St. Peter's Church.
Which is where Dirk Bout's Last Supper ended up, right? Incredible piece.
The very one. And the dukes saw the value in all this. They granted an extended charter in 1317. That was important. It formalized the guild's role in city government and, crucially, authorized the annual 9 days fair.
Pulling in merchants from all over, even Hanseatic ports like Lübeck.
You got it. Big business.
And the city grew. Population maybe 15,000 by mid-14th century.
Seems likely. Big enough that they needed a second massive wall, 7 kilometers long.
Wow. But prosperity didn't mean peace, necessarily. Tensions between the rich drapers and the workers.
Yeah, there were clashes. It bubbled up into a short, pretty violent uprising in 1379. Ended with a compromise, giving the craft guilds more say.
Interesting dynamic.
Definitely. But despite the bumps, Leuven rolls into the 15th century looking pretty impressive. Stone-paved streets, a couple of hospitals, and just packed with artisans. A real medieval success story.
Okay, now here's a pivot point. Maybe the pivot point. 1425, the university arrives.
Yes. Founded by Duke John IV, got the Pope's blessing. This fundamentally changed Leuven's destiny. No exaggeration.
Why start it then?
Well, partly it was strategic. To keep talented local clergy from heading off to Paris or Cologne, keep the brains in Brabant, it opened with 4 faculties. And it seems they made it appealing, reasonable fees. Apparently, plenty of good Rhenish wine helped.
Perks of the job.
Right. It attracted big names early on. Erasmus spent time there, Adrian Florizun, the future Pope Adrian VI, and humanist printers like Dirk Martens set up shop. It became a hub for scholarly publishing.
But this rise of the university, it happened just as the old cloth trade started to struggle.
Unfortunately, yes. Bad timing for the traditional economy. There was an English wool embargo in 1469, new rules down in Bruges hurting them, and the river, the Dyle Delta, was silting up. Bad for exports.
So trade is declining, but the university is rising.
Exactly. Antwerp's deep harbor was drawing away the commercial energy. So Leuven made a conscious pivot. It shifted focus from commerce to intellect.
And the town hall, completed around then, 1469, that amazing Gothic building. That's like a statement piece.
Absolutely. Think about it. The looms are quieting down, but they build this incredibly ornate hall covered in, 236 statues? It's broadcasting scholarly ambition loud and clear.
A symbol of the new direction.
Precisely. By 1500, the population had actually shrunk, maybe down to 10,000. But the city's reputation, it was growing across Europe thanks to its libraries, its debates, its printing presses. It secured a cultural legacy that really outlasted the medieval money. It shows incredible adaptability, right? Shifting focus when needed.
Definitely a key theme, adaptability.
Then the 16th century rolls in and things get turbulent. Religious strife hits hard, Luther's ideas arrive, and they caused a stir, finding both strong supporters and fierce opponents within the university itself. In 1520, you had Leuven scholars like Ruar Tapper organizing one of the first public burnings of Lutheran writings in Europe, right in the Groot Begijnhof Square.
So right at the heart of the Reformation debates, and political tension too. Spanish Habsburg rule, taxes.
Yeah, that plus outbreaks of plague. Leuven became a garrison town, housing Spanish, Walloon, German soldiers. Strained resources, heightened tensions.
But even with that pressure for conformity, there was still innovation happening.
Surprisingly, yes. You had some theological currents, like a kind of Augustinian Catholicism, alongside early experiments in anatomical dissection, seeds of modern medicine being sown, even amidst the turmoil.
Then the 17th, 18th centuries, layering more changes, Baroque Enlightenment ideas.
Exactly, you get this layering effect. Habsburg rulers sponsored grand art, new colleges, that's the Baroque splendor. Then came the Austrian Habsburgs with enlightened reforms. Think sanitary rules, modernizing the university curriculum, establishing that botanical garden we mentioned.
Which is still there.
Still thriving.
Yeah.
But reforms often trigger pushback, right?
Always seems to.
Yep. Conservative backlash, student riots against some imperial rules, and then the big one.
Yeah.
The French Revolution hits in 1797. Huge shock. The French occupiers shut down the old university, stripped the churches.
Rough times.
Very rough. But even these disruptive periods kind of cleared the ground for what came next. Being annexed by France, then folded into the United Kingdom and the Netherlands after Napoleon. That really pushed Leuven towards industrial modernity. The dial got canalized easier transport, old monastery buildings, turned into spinning mills, and then the railway arrived from Brussels in 1837, big connector.
And the university comes back.
Yes, but in a new form. The Catholic elite reestablished it in 1834, privately funded this time. The Université Catholique de Leuven drew international students quickly.
Cool, the city itself is modernizing, tearing down old walls for boulevard.
Exactly, that Haussmann style, very 19th century. So you have this real contrast. Steam engines and church processions, socialist groups and Jesuit schools. A microcosm of Belgium itself, balancing old and new.
But this resilience you keep mentioning, it was about to face its ultimate test, wasn't it, World War I?
Nothing could have prepared them. August 25th, 1914, a truly horrific event. German forces, in retaliation for alleged sniper fire, deliberately set fire to huge parts of the city.
Hundreds of houses gone. The University Hall.
And the library. The University Library, with 300,000 books and manuscripts. Torched. Gone.
Unimaginable.
It became known as the Rape of Louvain. It sent shockwaves around the world. Pure cultural vandalism.
but they rebuilt it.
They did. The Carnegie Endowment, American funding, financed a magnificent new library building, inaugurated in 1928. It stands today as just this incredibly powerful symbol of defiance, of reconstruction, of that unyielding civic spirit.
That ability to rebuild from absolute devastation. It's profound.
It really is. It's not just history, it's a core part of Leuven's identity, transforming crisis into purpose.
And that trauma, did it shape the years between the wars?
Absolutely. The fueled pacifist movements, human rights activism. There was also a push for modernist city planning, but the economic struggles and the deep scars remained as Europe headed towards another conflict.
World War II, more hardship.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
German occupation again, university buildings requisitioned, Jewish residents tragically deported, Allied bombs hit industrial zones.
Did the library survive this time?
Miraculously, yes. The Carnegie Library survived the bombing. After liberation in '44, the focus turned again to recovery, rebuilding academic life.
Post-war recovery, Marshall Plan aid helping out.
Right. Expanding infrastructure, housing, and crucially, the university regained its international standing. You had figures like Georges Lemaitre, the father of the Big Bang Theory.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, putting Leuven firmly back on the global scientific map. This spurred huge growth. New campuses were built. By 1960, Leuven was bigger than before WWI. But new tensions were brewing. Linguistic ones this time.
Yes. The famous linguistic split. 1968. Leuven, Vlaams, Wallenbrück.
Leuven Flemish Walloons out. Huge demonstrations. It led to the government making a drastic decision, splitting the Catholic University. You got KU Leuven, the Dutch language university, staying put, and UC Leuven, the French language one, having to relocate entirely to a newly built town, Louvain-la-Neuve.
That must have been incredibly disruptive, painful.
Hugely painful, incredibly expensive. But here's the paradox. That split actually freed KU Leuven. It grew massively, becoming Europe's largest Dutch language university and a powerhouse, especially in biomedical research.
So out of division came focus, strength.
In a way, yes. Concentrated strength. It's a really striking outcome.
And the city itself adapted again, moving away from older industries.
Smart move by the planners. They leaned into the knowledge economy. Science Park Ehrenberg was founded in the late 70s. Then Janssen Pharmaceutica set up a major research campus in '85, a deliberate shift that paid off.
While also preserving the past, restoring those Gothic buildings.
Yes, simultaneously. Heritage groups fought for funding. The Round Table, the Groot Begijnhof restored beautifully. The Begijnhof even got UNESCO status in '98. Shows a real commitment to both innovation and heritage.
And making the city more livable. Bikes, pedestrian zones, festivals.
Exactly, transforming it into this really pleasant, lively university town. Known for its labs, sure, but also its breweries and atmosphere. By 2000, maybe a quarter of the population were students or researchers. Gave it a very young, international vibe.
And into the 21st century, still adapting.
Definitely. Navigating globalization, the digital shift, climate change. Look at Imagent, the nanotechnology lab at the university, world-leading, huge EU investment in semiconductors.
Right.
And the city's Leuven 2030 plan, super ambitious on cutting carbon emissions, retrofitting old buildings, solar power. Plus, they keep finding ways to connect people with the history-illuminated walks, augmented reality apps.
So it's still that dialogue, history and future woven together.
Perfectly put. It's a living node, constantly evolving.
So after tracing this incredible journey forward to Smart City, if someone visits today, how do they experience this dialogue? Where do you feel that blend of past and present most strongly?
Oh, great question. Well, you absolutely have to start at the Old Market Square, the Oude Markt.
The longest bar in the world.
That's the one. Day or night, it's buzzing. It still feels like the city's central meeting point, just like it was centuries ago. Pure energy. Then, just steps away, the town hall, the Stadhuis. You stand there, look up at that facade, all those intricate carvings, the 236 statues. It's just pure 15th century ambition and pride staring back at you. Beautifully lit at night, too.
A real statement.
Definitely. And then, the University Library and its tower. You see the building, its history destroyed in WWI, rebuilt with US help. It feels like resilience. And the view from the tower. You see the whole city spread out, a city that refused to die.